This time last year, I posted up a video about how rugby is dying. The video had a strong response and opened the door to conversations with broadcasters, pundits and brands who all agreed rugby is massively letting itself down. The focus of the video was on how rugby in England is failing to connect with its younger audiences. And with a year passed since that video dropped, I thought I'd revisit this with some groundbreaking data released from another sport today, Formula One. So what is this groundbreaking data? Well, Formula One announced findings from a recent study which gives an insight into the next generation of sports fans. F1, alongside a market research company, completed the study with the help of 162,774 kids aged 12 to 18 with the objective of understanding what the fan of the future looks like. Across the surveys and several focus groups, I've highlighted some of the key findings, which I will then explain just how rugby is stacking up against them. Point 1. Generation Z now have a greater level of interest in esports than traditional sports. Globally, 41% of kids aged between 3 and 18 now engage with esports, a 22% increase year on year according to the report. For a long time now, rugby has failed consistently to deliver a rugby video game worthy of its 126 million avid fan base, which World Rugby reported in 2019. And now with the game growing in America, Japan and other key areas, surely this should be top of World Rugby's agenda to sort. Previous World Rugby chairman contender Augustin Pischer said that rugby needs to produce a high quality video game and embrace esports if it is to engage new and existing fans in the future. This was in April 2020, and comparing the data released today by F1, it's clear rugby is massively being left behind in this area. Instagram and TikTok are where young people are consuming content now rather than Twitter and Facebook. YouTube also continues to be a prominent channel for young fans. If we look at the Premiership clubs and their data around these specific social media channels, what can we learn from this data? Well, the Saints have posted very little during the off-season, but the content is fairly strong, whereas Leicester have posted a lot. But it's more about quantity over quality for Tigers. Ideally, you want the interaction rate between 5 and 7%, because what is the point in having 100,000 followers if none of them are engaged by the content? So it's about striking the balance between quantity and making sure the content is something fans will engage in. On TikTok, it's really worrying to see some clubs don't even have TikTok accounts. Actually, it's pretty staggering. A huge young audience is just being completely ignored there. The final notable key finding from the report is that having behind the scenes access helps young fans understand more about sports participants and their backstories. Given this exclusive insight behind the scenes helps to develop a connection to their favourite players. Clubs have been improving on this front, with Gloucester, Bristol, Bath and others showing an insight into pre-season, whereas Newcastle haven't posted one post about pre-season yet. With COVID causing chaos, and I appreciate clubs have been restricted with what they can do due to staff being on furlough and financial restraints, as well as Premiership Rugby enforcing restrictions on content creators being in training camps. But this should now be a priority as we come out of restrictions. Otherwise, the fear of rugby falling further behind could leave the sport suffering for years to come. F1, as the example, rediscovered its mojo after years of being traditionally an old man's sport. Now, I am aware F1 is a global sport in comparison to Prem Rugby, but it's still impressive to see a 70% year-on-year increase in young fans from 17.3 million to 20.1 million, which represents a faster growth rate than football, which only grew at 6%. If we look at the main home unions, we can see again how they are missing huge opportunities with young fans with a lack of presence on TikTok, as well as an underperforming engagement rate on Instagram. This highlights further areas where rugby must improve, with a focus on more specific content to each social media channel. I believe Formula One is a great comparison for rugby and should absolutely be used as a blueprint and a wake-up call for rugby to sort its own house out and start reaching the next generation before it's all too late. I've included links to all the data I've used here in the description. It makes for interesting reading and hopefully it opens some eyes within the rugby world. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button. If you're new to Fab Rugby, hit subscribe and let me know what your thoughts are. Which rugby club accounts do you enjoy following on social media? Guys, I'll see you soon for the next video. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.